I was brushing my teeth in the morning, 6 a.m. in the morning, and I checked my emails and I saw an email, welcome to our family. And I got so confused because my host mom sent me this email, not wife you. So I was like, is this email real?
Hello and welcome to this episode of Life Exchange Stories of Understanding. I am your host, Kelsey Ross, and today I am joined by a wonderful special guest. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the listeners?
Hi, my name is Lia, and I'm from Germany. I'm currently 17 years old, and I'm doing my exchange here in the USA, in Ohio, and I live with my host family. I have 4 host siblings. They're 12. No, they're not 12. They're all younger than me, and I have my 2 host parents, and I go to a pretty big school, which was kind of new for me because my school in Germany isn't small, but also not huge. But my school here, I think, has about like 2,000 students, so it was something new, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, Lia, I'm so happy you're here. I cannot wait to hear more about you and hear more of your story. Let's just jump right into it.
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
Let's find out a little bit more about your life in Germany. You had mentioned that before you went to kind of a smaller school. So what was school life for you like at home in Germany?
So in Germany, the school system is definitely different to here. So I go to school at like 8 a.m. in the morning, and we have same schedules every day. So we have like different classes every day too. And overall the grading system, all of it is like different. And I feel like the school spirit is something completely different than here in the US. So most of the time I go to school, we go to the classes. Okay, I have my friends. Then I come back from school at 3 or 4. Depending on upon how long the school day is. And then I just study, do homework, and then I do like my fun activities or sports and my hobbies after school. It's not like in the school, like during the same time. It's like separated more. Yeah.
Gotcha. I've heard from students who have studied abroad in Germany and from German students who come here that generally like after school activities tend to be more like community based and not really fun in the school. Do you know
not really.
Why is that?
I feel like the school goes longer in Germany, so the higher the grade gets. For example, I would be a junior in Germany, like 11th grade. And the older you get, the longer the school day gets. So if you're pretty young, you have like school until 1 or 2. But the older you get, you might stay at school until like 4 or like 5, depending upon how the schedule is. So yeah, that's a big thing. And my German school, we have clubs, which are really fun, but the clubs are always 2 p.m. during the daytime. And this is why a lot of students just can't join the clubs when you get older. And most of the students have their like hobbies after school then, yeah.
Gotcha. And I'm curious, what kind of clubs are offered in schools like yours in Germany?
I think it depends on the school. Like in my school, we have a volleyball club. So I used to do that, but we also have, I would say, like biology things, activities you can do after school, or music things. But it's not like here in the US, we just have like a smaller, like it's just not, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Within your school, was going on exchange something that was really common?
So I heard like my first thought about an exchange here was actually because of my dad, because he used to do an exchange here with YFU too. He went to Illinois. So I always heard him talking about it. And I remember, I think 2 years before I actually did the exchange here, or like 1.5 years before, there was like a day where you could go and all the organizations introduce themselves. And he was just like, you can just go there, and I don't have to do it, but if I want to do it, like I would have the chance to do it, which I'm so cool. But yeah, so that was because of my dad. But I didn't really hear a lot of students in my school before that. But right now, I also know 2 other people that are doing an exchange. Yeah, but before that, like I feel like it was mostly because I have friends next to my school and my dad, so that the exchange here, yeah.
And What sort of stories did your dad tell you about being on exchange?
He always talked about his sports spirit, like the sports he did. And I think he did track. And
Okay.
it was just all the stories. Overall, I just love to travel or get to know new places. So it was just like, I love this. I always I love to listen to him, like to his stories. He mostly talked about the sport. Yeah. Like the high school spirit. But yeah, that was
Not
a big
surprising.
point to point. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So it probably wasn't a big sell or something you had to convince them when it came time for
Yeah.
you to say, I want to do this too then. It sounds like he was
Yeah.
really wanting to sell you on the idea.
When I got to choose if I want to do it, my parents, they let me the choice. They didn't say, you can do it, you have to do it. They most likely, when I asked them, I remember at one point I was like, do you think I should go on an exchange here? Would it be okay if I do that? And they were like, it's 100% your choice, because at the end, it's like you as a person who goes to the other country and not your parents. So like in general, when you ask your friends or your parents, they can always say yes or no, but at the end, it's you that goes on an exchange here. So it's like 100% your choice, and you should feel comfortable with that. Yeah.
Yeah. What made you finally become comfortable with the idea of going on exchange and decide that this is something you wanted to do?
Yeah, I remember at the beginning, I was so scared. Like I was excited. I love to travel, and I love to get to know new cultures and learn about different places and all of this stuff. And I also love to connect with people and all of this. I think definitely a big point also for me was to develop myself and also to improve my language. But at some point I was like, okay, what if I get homesick, or what if I cannot really connect with friends or family, the host family? But I don't know, at some point I was like, I'm fine with doing this experience. And I was just so excited to go on this exchange. So yeah.
Oh, I could totally see how you would get kind of caught up in that negative thought loop and just kind of focus on that. Imagine a lot of students end up talking themselves out of this experience by getting stuck there. It's commendable that you didn't and you pulled yourself out of that. It's great. It's really cool that you were able to do that. Did you end up having like a conversation with your dad who had gone on exchange when you were kind of stuck in this like negative thought loop to say what his perspective was or anything like that, or talk with friends?
Yeah, so I definitely talked to both of my parents and my friends. And I think the point was why I was so sure also that I would like to do it from my German life side, like all of the people there. I just like knew that they would support me. Like also when I come here, I think like I just knew that if something happens, they would be there for me. I think this gave me the comfortable choice to do it too. Yeah. Also with my friends, my parents, and overall, I sort of had two brothers in Germany, and I was sure that they would be there for me. And yeah, so this helped me a lot. Yes.
And so then you make your choice. You say you're going to take this leap and you're going to do this. And you apply and go through that long process. I know
It was
it's
a
very
long process.
So what was that whole process like for you and your family?
It was, as you said, it was really long. The first time I went to the place where the different organizations introduced each other, and then I first decided to go with YFU. And then I applied for YFU, so I had an interview, and you also have to take a test, I think. It was like depending on which country you want to go to. I think Canada, you also might to take Canada, USA, I don't know which countries, but I had to take an English test. Yeah, and then it's a lot of paperwork. So definitely before you do all of the stuff, I would also say that you need to talk to your school, because depending upon how like kind of your grades are or how you are at school, you might need to ask them if you need to retake a year or if you get to skip the year. I know people have to retake the year, but I also know people that get to skip the year. So you also might need to talk to your school. Yeah, and after all of this, I had a lot of paperwork. So, of course, the host family letters and all of the stuff. But also, you have to be sure because different countries require like different kind of paperwork. And also, you need to go to a doctor. And depending on which country you go to, you need to do different things. And which is also a big point that you need to do your appointments early enough because the time goes by so fast, like faster than you think it would be. And it's good to have the appointments also with the visa, which is a big thing. So it's really important to do this early enough. Yeah, that was a big
big
thing.
time.
That was a really long process.
Yeah, no, I only really, from this end of things, I don't really get to hear a lot about the process of going through it and hearing
Yeah,
all the students and families go through just to finally have the student come here. I mean,
yeah,
it's a big process. It's a big deal what
it
all you have to
is.
do. And you brought up something that is interesting that a lot of people don't really take into consideration that I think is interesting to come up with that to think about. And that is, you know, potentially having to retake a year of school or
Yeah,
skip a year of school. So
yeah,
do you know, like, let's talk a little bit about that because
yeah,
a lot of students don't know that that is something that they may have to consider and deal with. That could be a bit of a shock for
yeah,
them. So, um, was that I'm assuming that is something you also had to grapple with.
yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
when I talked to my school, at
Mm-hmm.
the end in Germany, we have like huge exams at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the 10th grade. It's a test everybody has to take. And my school
Mm-hmm.
told me that when I do good at these like final exams, like if I get good grades, I get to skip the year. And if my grades are overall, if they're good, but if my grades are pretty low, or also if I feel when I go back and I just feel like I'm stuck behind, then I have to
Mm-hmm.
retake the year. Yeah, so it depends on your grades, I would say, like how you did over the years and how your grades are. Yeah.
If you would ended up having to retake the year, do you think that
Yeah.
going on exchange is something you would have maybe reconsidered?
I don't think so because
Okay.
my exchange here is like, it's so much more than grades. And then I feel
Yeah.
it's a once in a lifetime experience. So
Yeah.
like, I feel like it's something you cannot do again like this. I also thought about doing an au pair year, but I really wanted to do an exchange year while I was at the school. So I would say you should go for it. Yeah.
For anybody who might be considering going on exchange and
Uh-huh.
hearing this and is worried, like maybe
Yeah.
this scares them, don't let it scare you. This is something
No.
to talk about with the people who are helping you with the intake process of your school. This may not apply to you. You don't know until you find out. But this is something to
Yeah.
also keep in mind, you know, and I appreciate you bringing that up. This is something that a lot of students don't know and maybe don't even consider. I'm glad
Yeah,
that you
but
brought it up.
they also shouldn't be scared of it. It will go well. Yeah. Yeah, it will be fine.
Absolutely. So you go through the process, you get through the mountains of paperwork,
Yeah.
and all that time passes by, and then finally the moment comes where you find out you got in, you're going on
Yeah.
exchange. What was that like?
It was actually a funny story because I got my placement pretty early. And I remember
Hmm.
I woke up. It was like 6 a.m. in the morning. I checked my emails so many times at this point because I got so many emails from YFU and all of the stuff. So I checked them pretty early in the morning or like
Yeah.
during the day. I remember
Hmm.
I thought YFU's email will send me an email when I get my host family, but I was brushing my teeth in the morning, 6 a.m. in the morning, and I checked my
Hmm.
emails and I saw an email, welcome to our family. And I got so confused because my host mom sent me this email, not YFU. So I
Yeah.
was like, is this email real? So I opened this email and I just saw this email and the picture and I was calling my mom. I was like, Mom, I got my host family. That was so crazy because YFU, short after that, I found out that YFU sent me something on the YFU app, but I first saw the email from my host mom and it was crazy. I was like so excited because I didn't expect it to be that early too. I just
Yeah.
saw this email and I was like, what? Yeah.
My gosh, that's so crazy. That's so cool. Okay. What was that message like? It was very welcoming. It had this
Yeah, it
picture.
was like, Yeah, so my host mom, she introduced the family members, my host siblings. So I have two
Mhm.
host sisters and two host brothers. And then she also introduced my host grandparents and the rest of the family a little bit. And then she just
Mhm.
told me about them. So what they like to do or how they
Mhm.
are like the daily life kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then at the end they sent me a picture and I was so excited to see it. I was so excited of like to read it and yeah, I was so happy at this point.
Oh my gosh. I can't imagine what that's like. Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
so surreal almost.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Like here are these people all the way across the world who are going to be hosting you and
Yeah,
being your family for a year of your
yeah,
life, and
definitely.
there they are sitting in your email inbox. It's like gotta be
Yeah,
like mind bending in a
yeah,
way.
yeah, it was so crazy.
So were you able to like talk with them for a bit and develop a relationship with them before you were able to come on program then?
Yes, so my host mom and we exchanged emails from time to time, and we also sent pictures. And I think a couple weeks before I
Mhm.
actually went on my exchange here, we had one call before that. So my parents and me, and then my host family, and we had a call, and it was just really nice. I remember I was so excited for the first call. I didn't know how to speak English. Okay, I knew how to speak English, but at this
Yeah.
point, I was just like, I don't know how to talk. I was so nervous, but yeah, it was really good. So we exchanged a couple emails and talked one time before I went on exchange. Yeah.
So for a student who is getting to know their host family before coming on program, I mean, what do you talk about? What do you like, what sort of things do you say to one another?
That's a good question. That was the same question I had. So on
Yeah.
the emails, it was just like daily life stuff.
Hmm.
I remember my host mom emailed me at Easter time and she just
Hmm.
talked about their traditions and I emailed back and all of the stuff. I remember,
Hmm.
I think, I don't exactly know what we talked about when we called each other, but it was just like introducing ourselves again because I feel that's something else to introduce someone when you actually see them than when you just
Yeah.
email them. So we just like
Hmm.
had a normal conversation and we talked about how excited we are to do a lot of the stuff. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
really, really, yeah, I was so nervous. I was so nervous. But then after like a couple minutes, it got better. And then, yeah, I think
Wonderful.
yeah, you can just talk about, I feel you can talk about your daily life and what you do or like what you're excited about coming there.
Yeah, and it's good to know. It's for students who might be coming on program or even for host families who are going to be taking in exchange students pretty soon. They're going to be having these conversations probably right now and may have no idea what to talk about. And this is great. These are great examples of things that they can work into conversation. So thank you for great advice. Thank you for giving them conversation
You're
topics.
welcome.
You're already giving people help. Already helping. Passing on the knowledge. So you you had these great conversations with your host family. You were able to start to
Yeah.
build that connection. I'm sure that helped to ease the nerves a little bit before coming
Yeah.
here, but I'm sure you were still a little nervous coming. I mean, I don't know how you couldn't be.
I remember the day my family and I, when we were on the way to the airport, it was weird. We
Yeah.
were all excited, but it was
Hmm.
weird. I know at
Yeah.
the airport, we also cried, but it was fine. But it was an adventure actually, because I did the wife you thing in the group together so that you don't have to fly alone, which was
Hmm.
really good at the end because
Yeah.
I know I felt like my way when I got here was an like exam that I can do the exchange here because it was mad. Our flight had a 2 hour delay. And
Mm.
then when I came to Chicago, I missed my second flight and it was
No.
so late already. And I was supposed to get to my host family, I think at like 10 p.m. but I ended up getting here at like 1 a.m. in the morning. But I was so glad because since I went with YFU, there was actually a person from YFU in Chicago. And I was so glad about that because she helped all of us. And that was really good. Yeah, like that helped me a lot.
That is a relief.
That was quite an experience. It was my first flight alone too. And it was like, okay, yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so nerve-wracking. Oh my gosh.
It was, yes.
But you did it and you survived. Hooray.
Yes. What was fun, I remember the people in Germany, they always say, okay, in America, you eat a lot of hamburgers or like burgers. And it was so fun because I arrived here at the airport at like 1 a.m. in the morning. It was super late. I haven't eaten anything in hours or so. I was starving. And actually the first thing I had was a hamburger at like 1 a.m. in the morning. It was so fun. But yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Welcome to America. Go throw it right into the tradition.
Yeah. But I was starving, so it was good. It was really good.
I bet. Nothing like a 1 a.m. hamburger. Nothing like it.
Yeah.
The only thing that's better is late night Taco Bell.
Yep. That's so good. Or ice cream, which is also really good.
Also, yep. See, you fit right in with the culture. It's like you haven't even been on exchange. You're part of American culture. Wait, you've done it. You have aced exchange. You've done it. Congratulations. You're American now.
Food is always good.
So what was that moment like when after all of this craziness with the airport and flights and delays and all of that, and then you finally are face to face with your host family?
Yeah, it was, I don't even know how to describe it. It was just like such an exciting moment because in this moment, you just realize, okay, you are on your exchange here now. You are kind of on your own. You're in a completely new country, and then you see your host family, and that's the starting point. It's like, okay, you did a lot before, but this is the moment where you realize, okay, I'm here. This is the year abroad, studying abroad. It's like, it was a really, really nice moment. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, actually, it was also so cute. I don't know if you can see it in the background, but my host siblings also did me like welcome, like posters. It was so cute. Yeah. Yeah.
Those are my favorite. I love getting those pictures from host families and from students, so from the welcomes at the airport with their signs. Oh my gosh, they're the best. I love them. Oh my gosh. People are so creative with their signs. I love it.
Yeah, it was definitely a special moment. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Are you ready to see the world and gain a global perspective?
With YFU USA, you can study abroad and immerse yourself in a new culture, language, and way of life.
It's more than just an adventure. It's a chance to grow academically and personally.
Start your journey today by visiting yfuusa.org and find out how you can study abroad with YFU USA.
Bye.
That's to be burned in your mind forever now.
Yeah, I have them pictured, like, I see them standing there. And I was so nervous because they were walking there and they were like up there. So I had to walk up there. It was so each step I got more nervous because I got like closer to them. And at first I didn't know, should I hug them or how do you say, like, how do you say hi? But we hugged each other, but it was really nice at the end, but I was so nervous. Yes.
Oh, that's so sweet. I guess, like those are things I wouldn't even think about like, do you hug these people? Do you handshake? You just go like, hello? What do you do?
Yeah,
I wouldn't even think about that.
I know I hugged my host parents, but at the first moment I offered my host siblings to give us a hug, but I didn't like force them to give a hug. So we just waved each other at the beginning because they're all younger than me. And for example, my host sister, she's much smaller than me and she doesn't know me and I doesn't know her. So I wasn't quite sure if she really wants to give me a hug like right away if she doesn't really know me. So we just waved at each other, but the next morning was so cute. she was way more open the next morning. I think it was also because it was so late. But yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. The little one's getting tired for sure.
Yeah.
Probably not in the mood to be all hugging. It's like that. So it sounds like you had the warm welcome and then you start to settle in and then you begin school and life on exchange. And so you had mentioned in the beginning that your school here in the United States is way bigger than your school in Germany. So that must have been a big culture shock.
Yeah. So it was crazy. I remember the first morning I woke up and then the American school bus. So my host mom walked me to my bus stop the first morning. So that was the first American high school experience, going to the yellow school bus. Yeah, but then at school it was huge. I was so confused with all the hallways and ways you could go. And even now, even today, if we have school events, I see people and I'm like, I never saw you before because the school is just so big. But actually, my first day, to be honest, wasn't as I thought it would be. It was amazing. It was amazing. It was really good. But I barely talked to any peoples. And the people, since the school is so big, they don't really know that you are new at the school. So I didn't really have a lot of contact during the first couple of days. But then after some point, I just realized that I also have to go to people because at the beginning I was not scared, but I was just sitting there and walking around and I didn't really talk to people and people didn't really talk to me, which made me feel really uncomfortable at the beginning. But then after some days, I started talking to people and then I connected more and it got better and better. But it definitely took some time to get used to all of the stuff and really settle in. Honestly, it took me a couple weeks to find my place at the school. And right now I love it. I love it. I love the school system. I have friends and all of this, but it definitely took me a time to have all of this, to get to know people because it's just you have to get to know people and how everything works. And it wasn't right after the first day. It took me a couple weeks. Yeah.
I could imagine, especially coming from Germany and having it be such a smaller environment, having it be just a completely different culture than what you're used to something like where you're at now, where it's so big, there's so many people, it's so different. I'd imagine it would take at least a couple of weeks to get used to. I mean, I could dare anybody to take less than a couple of weeks to try to get used to all of that.
So what helped me a lot at the beginning when I didn't have so many contacts or connections to people, I signed in for a bunch of clubs. I was doing student council. I'm in a Spanish club. Then I'm doing multicultural club, interact club. But they're not every day, but they're once in a while. And that helped me to connect with people. But after that, I just tried to do as many things clubs or also sports that helped me a lot to connect with people. So yeah, I would definitely recommend doing that.
That's great. And that's good advice for any exchange student who's coming on program too. Just get involved and jump right in to try to meet as many people as possible with these clubs and be able to meet people that way.
Yeah, for sure.
That is a great way to get involved. It's a great way to get involved, great way to meet people. And so you're not only here to improve your English, you're also in Spanish club. And I'm guessing learning Spanish too?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, I would say, because I'm taking a Spanish class and they explain the things in English. So I remember the first days when I got here, actually, it was so hard for me to speak and listen to English the whole day. I just was after a couple hours of speaking and listening to English, I had such a headache. And I just actually, I think my host mom also told me that it would be fine. When I got to the point where I had such a bad headache, I just went upstairs in my room for a couple minutes and then it got better. But it took me a bit to get used to it. But after that, but it's interesting when your teacher is explaining Spanish to you in your second language. So Yeah.
I have a headache just thinking about that. I'm not the one doing it. Oh my gosh. Kudos to you. Oh my goodness. Okay. So for somebody who is learning a third language in a second language, do you have tips for how to manage that?
I would say ask questions because
Okay.
I had points where I was just like, okay, I don't know what the teacher said. And then either if you feel comfortable with that, either you can just ask during the class time or after the period, you could just go to your teacher and be like, okay, hey, I didn't understand this. Could you explain it to me again? Because then he's like talking to you and you can ask more questions. But overall, I think you can just ask questions and I would say you don't have to stress yourself,
Yeah.
especially at the beginning when everything is new and you don't need to stress yourself. Like after a time, you get used to it. And sometimes even if I don't understand something, it's from the context. When you listen to the conversations, you kind of get what they're talking about, which was helping me a bunch of times. But I would say you can definitely ask questions and the teachers will help you. Yeah.
That's great. I'm glad you have teachers who are willing to step right
Yeah.
in and give you the help that you need and are able to answer your questions and give assistance for your third language.
Yeah.
There are those of us who have been speaking English their whole lives, like me, who are still struggling with that.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
And for a lot of there are a lot of students who come on program, language building is something that's a goal of theirs that they want to do.
Yeah.
So are you finding that being on program, if this is helping with your English skills?
Yeah, definitely. After some point, I know at the beginning I was talking kind of like the way we learn at school in Germany, so kind of formal. I feel like each language has different, I don't know how to say it. Each language has like, for example, it's driving me nuts or like, yeah, how do you call
Oh,
it?
they're like sayings. Yeah,
Yeah.
sayings, idioms, like little
Yeah.
slang.
Yes. Like at the beginning, you don't really use a lot of slang words. So after a time, you would hear people saying it, and after a time, you are like, "Oh my gosh, I'm also using this right now." I know at the beginning, I was so confused from time to time because, for example, with whatchamacallit, I was so confused. What does like? I remember my host brother used to say it a lot, and I was always like, "What does it mean?" And then finally, after a couple of weeks, I was like, What does whatchamacallit means?" And then he taught me what it means, and since then I also use it because I know what the meaning is. But I feel definitely the exchange here definitely helped me to improve my language. So of course, right now I'm still doing mistakes and I'm still learning. For example, also I have human geography and in this class, I hear words I never heard before. Even after all the time I've been here, I still learn new words like every day. And I also make mistakes, but it's definitely better than at the beginning. So I feel way more comfortable talking to people and listening to all of the stuff. I feel it's definitely a good way to improve the language.
Along with like language barriers, I'm sure there are other challenges that come with being on program. I know that you had talked about getting stuck in that negative thought loop and that potentially stopped you from coming on program at the time. So I'm curious if there were any challenges that you've had to overcome while you've been on program.
Yeah, so I would say homesickness is a thing I would say a lot of people might have. I got homesick from time to time too, which is, I feel it's something normal because it also shows that you live in your home country, you love your family and your friends, and homesickness isn't something bad. It's actually also something good. So when I got homesick, I talked to my parents from time to time, but sometimes I also did activities. So I went outside or did sport exercises. I just like the things that I like doing. And I would say what also could be, I wouldn't say a challenge, but it's kind of a mindset thing because depending on how you look at things, you also feel, because if you just have a negative mindset, you cannot really get all of the good stuff out of it because I feel also before you go on an exchange year, I didn't have a lot of expectations. So the more expectations you have like before coming here, when you come here and they don't have it, I wouldn't say like disappointed, but it would be like the more you expect, the more, how do you explain this the right way?
I think like you're trying to say is like if you come here with a lot of expectations, you're going to be let down. You're going to be disappointed.
Yes,
So if you don't
exactly.
go into it with them, you're less likely to be let down, you're less
Yes.
likely to be disappointed, and you're more likely to be surprised and happy, it sounds like. Am I
Yeah.
getting it right?
Also, yes, exactly. Also, I feel like an exchange year is about trying so many new things. So, for example, what was fun, if like people would have told me that before, I would be like, no, I don't do that. But I actually started in a dance team at my high school. I never danced before. In Germany, I do like kickboxing. So something completely different. So
Okay.
I was like, my high school was starting this new dance team. I saw this information. They had the meeting dates and tryouts. There's one other exchange student on my school, and we were like, let's try it. We were so excited to try new things. And I actually did things during my exchange year I never would have expected to do, to try. And at the end, it was so fun. Like the dance season, it was amazing. I never could have imagined myself dancing in front of student crowd. Like we performed during basketball halftime. Half times. I never could have imagined like myself standing there, but at the end, I'm so glad that I actually did it. Yes.
That's so cool. It sounds like with overcoming challenges, I mean, the mindset is really important. It's great. And I'm glad that you were able to keep a really positive mindset and keep very open-minded and were able to overcome it.
Yes. So I would also say what's normal is you can have bad days because after some point, I would say your exchange year gets your daily life. So school isn't this new experience anymore. Like it's your daily life and you get used to it. Of course, it's like kind of special in some way, but you get used to it after some point. And it's normal to have bad days because in exchange year, it's not about like the perfect exchange year. It's what you make out of it.
Yeah.
How your mindset is. And if your goal is to experience something during your exchange year, no matter what it is, you will definitely have something out of this exchange year. Yeah.
Awesome. Wonderful. And along the lines of the dance team,
Yeah.
I know you had talked about being on like all sorts in Spanish, trying Spanish too, and being in like student council. It sounds like you have tried your hand at a lot of different things while you've been on exchange. What other things have you tried since being on exchange?
So next to all of the school clubs and dance season, I also did skiing. I never thought that I would go skiing, but my school has actually a ski club. So we went skiing in a different state. Every Thursday, we took the bus. It was like a 1 hour drive, and then we went skiing, and it was amazing. I love skiing. Before I came here, I was like, okay, I never went skiing before, but this was such a great experience too. And right now, the dance season is over, and the ski season is also over, and then in between, I didn't really do something. I thought I really wanted to do track, but because of a couple problems, I wasn't able to do that. But now I'm in the volleyball team at the YMCA with a couple friends from the school, but like also people I don't know. And I love it. I love it. I actually have my first game tomorrow and I'm just like so happy like to do all of the stuff. Yeah, I'm so grateful that I have like all these different opportunities. Yeah.
That's awesome. And you just dove right in and you were just staying active and staying busy and hanging out with friends. I mean, you were really just taking the exchange experience and making it your own and just really doing it up. It's awesome.
I also would say I got to know most of the people I'm friends with. I got to know them in club, now the volleyball team or the dance team. I also got to know people in my classes, but I feel like most of the people I really do something with outside of school, I got to know like in the dance team or skiing was a big part of it. Also like the YMCA now, the volleyball. Yeah, that definitely helped me a lot.
We had briefly talked about traditions, and you had taught,
Mhm.
you had said in one of the first messages from your host family that they were talking
Yeah.
about traditions with them. So I'm guessing that during your time with your host family, you've got to participate in a lot of their traditions.
Yes.
So
Yes.
what has that been like?
It was definitely something different. I think the first big holiday festival kind of thing was Thanksgiving. So we don't have it in Germany. So this was actually my first time celebrating it. So
Yeah.
this was something I couldn't really compare to my German traditions, but it was really fun. So the family came over and we had the traditional Thanksgiving food and all of this. So that was definitely a great day. And I think when I got back to Germany, I would like a Friendsgiving or so with my friends. I would like to continue this. But also like Christmas, it was so different, but it was still so good. I loved it. Like, it was different to my German family traditions, but still it was a great time. Yeah. Also
How
that
so?
in Germany we celebrate Christmas at the 24th, so Christmas Eve.
Mhm.
And here in the US, most of the people celebrate Christmas at the 25th, so the morning. Yeah, so it was something different to celebrate it during the daytime and not during the nighttime. So in Germany, my family, we go to church and then we eat and then we open presents. And here was breakfast. And then you have also the stockings. We don't have the stockings in Germany. That was something completely new for me. Yeah.
Oh. So were you able to also share any of your German holiday traditions with your host family?
So, I did it in a food kind of way. So I made, in my German family, we have our traditional like family dessert. And then I made it for them on Christmas Eve. And then we had it together when the family came over. So I also taught them about how we're doing it, in Germany, but I had my food kind of thing that I showed them. Yeah.
If I remember right, from talking to exchange students who have gone to Germany, those who have been here, Christmas markets are really big in Germany too, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I would say Christmas markets are one of my favorite parts of the Christmas time or like winter time because it's amazing. I haven't been to one here because I think they're not that common, like as common as in Germany. So that was a thing that was kind of different for me. But otherwise, what was amazing? I know, I remember like all the time when we drove through the street, through the different street with all the lightning and the big like houses and the decorations. So in Germany, we also have decorations, but this is huge. It's like crazy. When you see the house, you are like, this is a house from a family that decorated yeah, it was crazy. I remember one time you could drive past the house and then you can connect to the radio station and then the radio station will play the song and then the house, the lightnings and all of the stuff, they would be like in the beat of the music. It was crazy. That was crazy. Christmas decoration here in the US, that's something different. Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh yeah. It's one of my favorite things about Christmas here in the United States.
Yeah.
I've seen a few houses like that where they'll have like the radio station that'll connect with
Yeah.
the light displays. They're so cool. Oh my gosh.
That was the
they're
first
rare.
time. Yeah. That was the first time I saw that. I never heard of that before too. So that was crazy.
So, and I know there are quite a few school traditions that a lot of exchange students who come here to the US they're really excited about. You mentioned the school bus, of course.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah, school bus.
Yep, and dances I know are another big one that they're all very excited about. I know a big one is may have already happened for you or is coming up for you. Prom.
Prom, yeah.
Yeah. Has that happened already?
I actually had prom last weekend. Yeah,
Oh my God. Okay.
it was amazing. So since my school is so big, it was also on a bigger location, huge location. It was amazing. We had prom and then we danced. We were singing so much. And then we had after prom and it was so good too. It was at a different location and you could go ice skating and they had a bunch of different activities you could do. And it was amazing. But I think my favorite part was the dancing and hanging out with your friends. And it was amazing. Yeah. It's so crazy that it's already over.
I know. I don't know. I don't know why. It seems like prom is like really early this year, or maybe I'm just
Yeah.
old and not paying attention. Probably that part.
No,
But
a lot of people told me that it's pretty early. Yeah.
okay. All right. Well, maybe all right. I'm glad I'm not the only one then that's thinking that. Although I'm still probably just old and not paying attention at the same time. But I'll also say that. Another really awesome part of this job is getting to see how excited you all get experiencing these traditions and getting all
Yeah.
dressed up. It's seeing you all go and experience prom and like homecoming. Because I mean, these are
Yes.
things that we kind of take for granted, and
Mm-hmm.
we see it all the time. We experience it all the time. And honestly, that's like one of the coolest things about exchange. It's taking these little things that you don't think about, that you think are just like whatever, everyday things, and seeing them through somebody else's eyes and watching them
Yeah.
become magical again and become these special things because it's something that
Yeah.
somebody has never seen before and has never experienced before.
It's
It's just
amazing.
it's so great. And I'm
It's
so glad that you had a great time.
Thank you. All the small moments. I remember at the beginning I told you about I didn't really have any contacts at school, so I was just like walking by myself in the hallways, going from class to class, finding my way through the day.
Yeah.
But then after some point, it
Hmm.
still makes me so happy when things like this happen. But when I just walk in the hallway and someone is saying
Hmm.
hi to me, they see me and they say,
Yeah.
"Hi, Leah." It makes me so happy every single time. I'm like
Yeah.
so happy when people talk to me, and it makes me really happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at the beginning I was
Exactly.
like, no one knows me. I don't know anyone. I'm
Yeah.
just walking there. They never saw me
Yeah.
before. I never saw them before. After a time, you're just like, oh, hey, how are you? And yeah, it's an amazing feeling. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Or like we recently had a larger group of German exchange students who were here for
Yeah.
just a 2-week program. It wasn't very long, but they were here. I mean, the one thing they all wanted to do more than anything, I mean, they have all these things that they could do, but the one thing they all wanted to do more than anything was to try Taco Bell. Something that
Taco
we
Bell?
all
Okay.
think, yeah, though something that we all as Americans, we take for granted because we could just go get it whenever we
Yeah.
want. But I mean, something that you all in Germany just don't have.
Yeah.
And watching them all have it and experience it for the first time, it's just like, wow, look, like this is
Yeah.
so cool. Watching them enjoy this food. It's like, it's so
Yes.
cool. It's what makes this whole experience is awesome. And I could go on about it forever
Yeah.
and it's that.
I know people, I came here, all the people were like, Leah, you need to try crumble cookies. Leah, you need to try Raising
Oh,
Canes. Those were the two like big, huge things they talked about. To be honest, I haven't tried crumble cookies yet. But I tried Raising Canes.
yeah. To be honest, I've lived in America my whole life and I haven't tried crumble cookies either. So
Okay.
you're not the only one.
Yeah. Yeah. But
That's
I
okay.
want to try it before I go back though.
Yeah. Yeah. Eventually. We'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
Another thing I also apparently need to try, it's a running joke on this podcast with anybody who's been to Germany or anybody who is from Germany,
Yeah.
anybody who's listening, they know. Apparently something I need to try is German bread.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
That's a good one.
so,
Yeah.
okay. So your opinion on German bread. I know there are hundreds of types. So,
It's amazing.
okay,
So
okay. What is it about this bread?
I think it's just that you have so many different types of bread.
Okay.
You have sweet bread, but you also have like so many different types of bread. I feel like it's like part of the German culture.
Okay.
I also tried some good kind of breads here in the US, but
Okay.
if you go to
That's a
Germany,
first.
yeah, if you go to Germany, you have to try the bread. Yeah,
Okay.
but fun story. Also, when I
Hmm.
came here, I went to a
Hmm.
German festival with my host family. On the German festival, everything was with sauerkraut. I don't know, like,
Yep.
yeah, you went there and you ordered something and you got it with sauerkraut. And I was like,
Yep.
okay. And the fun thing is, I wouldn't say I can't speak for all people, but most of my friends at least the people I know, we don't really like sauerkraut. I know people that like it, but it's not like all German people love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I am not at all surprised. If you ever get the chance to come up here, to come to Michigan, there
Yeah.
is a town called Frankenmuth. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've heard of it. It is essentially, it's a German touristy town, and the whole
Okay.
town is very German. We always like to get the German students' reaction to it.
Yeah.
All of them say, this is not German at all, or if it is, it's Bavarian. It's not, or it's not, this is not German. This is just Bavarian, or this is a
Yeah.
mockery. This is not what it is. Why are you calling this German?
I know, yeah.
It's a sweet little town. It is lovely. It is wonderful. There's lots of great things. It's also home to the world's largest Christmas store. That's fun.
Yeah.
You can get Christmas
Yeah.
ornaments year round. That's cool.
Nice.
But it's interesting to see the reactions. It's kind of interesting, like the Americanized versions of other cultures. How we kind of
Yeah.
just like melt
Yeah.
things down to certain things. Like, oh,
Yeah.
German, it's sauerkraut and pretzels and beer. Like
You know what?
Italian, spaghetti. Come on, guys, we can do better.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't make the rules. I just live here.
At the beginning, I was also so confused because my host parents kept talking about pretzels and I knew what they were talking about. But in Germany, we
Yeah.
call it Brezel with a B instead of a P. And it confused me
Ooh.
so much that they kept saying like pretzels because I was like, okay, I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about, but why do you call it pretzel?
The more you know. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Great learning moment here. I'm glad to know about German bread, and for listeners who have been listening for a long time, I am excited to say I'm finally going to be able to try it coming up very
When?
soon. I'm going to Germany. I will be going at the end of June.
That's
Middle of June to the end of
amazing.
June. I am so excited. I'm going to be going with a group of YFU students.
Yeah.
So I'll be going here. I'll be going there with them.
Oh my
I cannot
gosh.
wait. Yep.
I'm so happy to hear that.
I am so excited. I've never been to Germany. I cannot wait. Probably by the time this episode airs, I'll have already been there and back. So I'll have to report
Yeah.
about my findings and let you all know. But I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Do you know?
But yeah.
Do you know in which area you're going to in Germany?
Yes, we will be in Halle, Germany.
Is it like
So-
north, south?
I know it's by the city of, I'm probably going to terribly mispronounce this, Leipzig?
Leipzig.
Leipzig!
Is it Leipzig? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's over by there.
Okay. Okay.
That's the nearest airport. Because I think it's like
Okay.
a few miles, or I know I don't know kilometers. I'm sorry. But I
That's
know
fine.
it's not far
That's
from
fine.
there.
Yeah. Nice. Okay.
Yeah, so we will be there. There will be a group of students who are going there, and they are going to be staying with host families. They will be
Yeah.
participating in like civic engagement activities, and it's going to be great. We'll be there with YFU Germany. It's going to be wonderful. I'm so
amazing.
excited, and I'm going to be their chaperone and hanging out with them and participating the whole
That
time.
sounds so fun.
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
That
So
sounds so fun.
I'm excited. Yeah, it'll be awesome. I'll finally be able to put this joke to rest.
Yeah. So I don't think you can try all of the different types of bread, but
No,
Definitely.
unfortunately.
yeah, but it's good.
But a girl can try.
Yeah.
Leah, it sounds like you have had such an incredible experience while you have been on exchange. Are you ultimately glad that you didn't let that negative thought loop stop you from making the choice that you did?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I already realized that a couple of weeks after I came, even though it was like
Mhm.
pretty challenging at the beginning, I was so glad that
Yeah.
I did this and I did this step out of my comfort zone. It's a once in a lifetime experience. It's amazing. I can just say it's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And for a student who is considering it and maybe is stuck in that thought loop of their own and is maybe
Mhm.
scared, what would you say to them?
So they shouldn't be scared of that because it's a part of growing too. And honestly, you will make mistakes and it's totally fine because you learn out of your mistakes and you also will grow from your mistakes. To be scared isn't something bad. I would say sometimes people might say, okay, I'm not scared at all. Even like before I came here, there were people that were saying, I'm not scared at all. I feel like I don't get homesick. And they seem to be like 100% sure. But
Yeah.
I feel like every person has some things might worry about, like might be scared about. It's okay to be scared at the beginning. It's okay also to be unsure doing your exchange year when you actually do it because it's like part of it. But I would say it's such an amazing experience. At the end, you will definitely have something out of this year. But I would say go for it. It's amazing. Yeah, I would do it over and over again. And honestly, I'm so sad that I have to go back in a couple months. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm speaking of that unfortunate day. I mean, what comes next for you after you go back?
So, I have 2 more years of school when I go back because in Germany we have 13 years instead of 12 years. So I have 2 more years of school, but I definitely also
Yeah.
plan to visit my friends and my host family here in the US again. 100%. I really want to see them again if they want to see me again. No, but yeah. So I'm so excited. Like after school, when I finish school, I think I might go to the college or like doing the stuff that interests me. But otherwise, next to like all the school stuff and work and the life that comes after that, I definitely plan to come back here. Yeah. So because living here in the US gave me, I would say, such like a huge different perspective, different view of how things work. I don't know if I could imagine staying in my hometown my whole life.
Yeah.
So you still haven't seen a lot of places in the world, but like the exchange makes you able to see the world a different view and you get to know things in a different way and you experience them. Because what kind of scared me before I came here, people said things like they haven't been to places, but they kept things about it because they heard it on the news or stuff like this. So if you really go to a place and experience it by yourself when you're actually there, it's something completely different than when you hear about stories. So yeah, I definitely look different at things now than when I used to look at things before I came here. Yeah.
This might be hard, but if you could sum up your exchange experience in a word, what would it be?
In one single word, in
If
one single
possible.
like word, okay, I would say unique. Yeah, unique, I would say, because every single exchange student has his own experience doing his exchange here. And I would say it's kind of like perfect for every single person. Even if you have bad moments or like, hopefully you will get great, like a lot of like great moments. But even if you have bad moments, you learn out of it and you grow, like you grow a lot. When you're in this situation, I feel like you don't really know that you're growing. But after a couple of months, you look back and you're like, I did that. For example, you did it like the step to the airplane, the first step going through the security, saying bye to your family. Like when I look back at this moment, I'm like, I really did that? In the moment, you don't realize how much you are growing and much later. Yeah. So I would say an exchange here doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be like real and like you really have to live it. And if you have that time, that's okay. So I would say unique because it's like unique for every single person. It's amazing.
I guess my final question, when looking back to that girl who was in that loop, considering not going on exchange at all, and looking back to her as who you are now, what would you say to her?
I would say take the step because you are growing so much and you are going to experience things you never could have imagined to happen. Like it's a once in a lifetime experience. Like it's like just amazing because you also make connections. The connections you make during your exchange year are not just like the connections you have like 1 year in your life. So much more like the years after that. Like it's amazing when you still have that connection all over the world. When you connect like still after, imagine you go back 10 years later and you're like, oh, I'm going to visit my host family from 10 years ago. Like I'm going to see some friends. It's amazing. And I would say you should definitely try it because it's amazing. It's an amazing opportunity to do. And yeah.
Lia, I can't thank you enough for coming on here and sharing your story and be just so wonderful.
Thank you. I'm so glad that I could do it. It's
Oh my gosh.
crazy.
Well,
I remember the time when I signed up for the interview, and it's already like so long ago. And I'm like, am I really sitting here doing this right now? Yeah.
yeah.
It's crazy.
Honestly, we might have to next once you're done, we might have to have you back on just to see what happens after a year or so. Do an update on you, see where you've been.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
Awesome. Okay, well, unfortunately, our time has come to an end. Sounds like we'll be talking again sometime in the future, which I can't wait for.
Thank you so much.
But yay. Oh my gosh, thank you. Well, listeners, that has been this episode of Life Exchange Stories of Understanding. I've been your host, Kelsey Ross. Until next time, bye.
Listen to Life Exchange Stories of Understanding now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.